Fastest lap, 49.2. It's a new fastest lap for all, 49.1. Fastest lap for 8:49.0. Behind has just done a 49.4.
Hey, John, can you hear me? Can anyone hear me?
Yep, you're getting out. I don't know who John is, but you're getting out.
John, make sure you put the super speedway configuration in with the high load tires.
It's been a 49.3.
If somebody just spoke, we only heard noise.
Looked like that was Lanny. Sounded like he was blowing a trumpet.
Vuvuzela.
Hello.
Hey.
tyres are watch out.
Man, this is wild. Getting the left inside, or the rear tire to light up. Come on, Brian. Hello.
Sector.
Wow.
I get that a lot.
Well, that doesn't work.
Sector 2 is not. Nice. Next.
Let's go ahead and close that. Lateral redistribution. We got about 5 minutes. Yeah, work.
Sorry about that, Craig.
Brian Hall again.
Yeah, he's everywhere.
So what? It's quick. Nice. Second 3 time. Nice.
Seems to have money shifted. Okay, well, we're about there. I guess we'll fire up the old
Excellent.
thingamadoohickey. Okay, welcome everybody to the penultimate round for the 1972 NASCAR Winston Cup Series. We're at the beautiful Talladega Motor Speedway, or just called Alabama Motor Speedway back then. We'll have a 50-lap race tonight, so a little bit longer than normal as per popular demand. I'm sure it will be fraught with excitement and all kinds of things happening, being a large road course. Got a couple changes for what we're going to be doing tonight, so do pay attention. You're still welcome to keep circulating, but make sure that you're listening, because the stuff is going to be a little different. So we are going to go through and do qualifying tonight. Usual 5 laps that you get. However, we are going to be doing staggered release like we did at Daytona. So we'll line up at the end of pit road, and I'm just going to call out when each car can go, and that's just to remove the slipstreaming. I unfortunately forgot to get in there and update the server to do private qualifying, which for some reason didn't work the first time that I tried to apply it. So I don't know that it would have been effective anyway, because I was obviously doing something wrong. I don't know how checking a single box for the option would be wrong, but so we'll do that. Just make sure that you know you got enough space to the car ahead of you when you're going out there. But I mean, it should be fine. As we go from qualifying into the regular race, you'll have all 5 minutes of 5 minutes or 10 minutes. I can't remember the warm up. Whatever the full length of warm up is, we'll get things pulled together. As we go, it's a regular start procedure. We'll follow the pace car out and do the full pace lap. It is just one lap, so you know you can warm up your tires, do everything you need to. Hail Marys, whatever you need. But do make sure that you leave enough space around you, especially to those on the front row, to the pace car, because I do recall that pace car does woe up in a couple spots. It isn't as dramatic as we have seen, at least it wasn't for me, but if you're right on top of it, it can be very disconcerting.
Was 49.7.
Once you get to the line, or sorry, as you're coming around towards the line, pace car will pull off and the green flag will wave and you may proceed. You can pass on the outside of the line that you are in before the start finish line. Then of course after that, do as you wish. Orange zone is the first lap of the race. It'll be automatically reviewed. It's the cars are quite heavy, and if you've done laps around here, you can see that they tend to push out. So everyone be cautious of that, because even when you're turning down, cranking left as hard as you can, sometimes the car just wants to float up the track. So keep that in mind. Track limits. There are no track limits per se. You are allowed to pass below the double yellow as they did back in the day. However, as you do so, be aware that any incidents you cause by doing so will certainly be judged harshly. It's not an orange zone thing, but you know, it's kind of like, yeah, kind of below the line. So if you pull up into somebody, you know, it's going to be hard to argue that as being just a racing incident. Pit road speed is infinite. Well, it's 400 if you can make it. Do be cautious as you come onto pit road, just because it's tricky for the speeds that you're taking. If you're pulling off, best to announce it. If you're thinking of it, if people are right around you, just especially because we're going to be in a pack. So if you're around there and you got to get in, you know, call out and let people know what you're doing. You know, make sure if you're on the high side, just pull high and let people by. If you're thinking about pulling in, just don't veer straight across, folks. We didn't have any problems at the time, so I don't think we're gonna have any issues here. As you come off of pit road, you are able to come right onto the track if there is no traffic there. If you come out and there are cars coming right by, stay below the yellow line, the double yellow on the apron, until they clear you, and then you may pull over onto the regular racing surface. But otherwise, if nobody's right there, then, you know, go on out. As we're under caution, first of all, when the caution comes out, there is no racing back to the line. The field is frozen. But don't just drop to zero. I mean, make sure you get back to where the pace car is promptly, but safely. And then you'll just line up in the row and make sure that you pay attention to what it says on screen. You might need to ignore crew chief, but please pay attention. I will put a caveat in here for tonight. I'm going to try and get us to skip one of the laps if we do have a caution period, so that way we're not spending all of our time just trolling around. So after the second group of cars, the lap down cars come in, there are any. I'm going to go ahead and I'll double check and make sure that there isn't anybody I'm missing. That might be down a lap or off or something. And if nobody calls out that they're, they've got issues or something's going on, I'm going to go ahead and move it forward, or I'm going to call to try and clear the yellow. So you'll hear me say that, and hopefully all will go as it's supposed to, and we'll clear the yellow, and it should cycle out that last caution lap. So make sure you're paying attention, because that may mean that we're going to green kind of quickly, so be ready to jump in where you need to. For those on the front row, if for any reason it skips past where you would be selecting which side you want to be on, just call out which side you want to be on, and we'll just do what we typically do. For those in the second row, don't worry about the names, just stay in the lane that it says. So if it says cruiser or so up high, just make sure you're up high. It doesn't matter who you're behind, and then all will be good. If we run into any issues with the caution flag calling it off, then I'm not going to worry about it. We'll just skip that and take our medicine, I guess. As we're racing, of course, there's the golden rule of racing in effect, which is if you cause an incident, please redress. Obviously, we're very close. Pack racing, where I certainly won't disallow bump drafting. If you can pull it off and make it work, good on you. Of course, if you spin somebody out trying, well, yeah, they can file if they so choose. But use discretion when you can, and it'll be fun. I mean, it is pack racing, so here we go. No penalties to announce for this race. Oh, for blue flags, if there are blue flags, chances are it's probably it might be a pit cycle if we're all under green flag, in which case things will kind of sort themselves out probably. But if not, just follow the usual rules. Like as far as defending position, you're not allowed to defend against blue flag drivers or the lapping drivers coming around. But we didn't have too many issues at Daytona, so I don't anticipate too many here either. Obviously, don't escape, control alt delete if you get hung upside down or caught in a wall. And you might be down a couple laps, but you have a chance to make it back and earn some points. I can't clear DQs during the race or qualifying, so if you do that, that's tough. That's it. Any questions?
Yeah, I thought I heard an open mic. Anybody have an open mic?
That was
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
He'll turn it off when or do whatever he needs
I
to.
want to make sure I'm not hearing that randomly.
Oh, you did. All right. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and move us forward. Like I said, line up at the end of pit road in a line, and then I will. I'll kind of pull up to the end of pit road line as well, and I will call out to send people on their way. So yeah, here we go. Oops. Apparently somebody's trying to get in. All right, so everybody line up here down on pit road exit. I'll just call you off as you go. Oh, you can go to the right of me. Is that Lanny? Who's that coming up behind me? Who's this next to me? Is this Lanny or John? I can't tell.
Point of order.
Yeah.
For the first time ever, my car has not started sitting here in the pit box. What's that about?
Did it turn off? Here, who's in the 12? I can't tell who that is. You can go ahead.
It's me, Brett.
Oh, go ahead, Brett. I can't remember who's in which car.
Just remember, it's the real thing.
Hold up right here.
Can you hear me?
All right,
Hear me? I'm
go
on
ahead.
my way back.
Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
On my way
Yeah, we
back.
hear you.
Thank you.
Anybody know what the default keyboard command is to start the damned engine?
That's a good question, Zadai.
You can always go
I-
check your assignments
Yep,
real
go ahead,
quickly.
I is ignition, I think.
Go into settings and check
Come on in
your
front of me, Lanny.
assignments.
Go behind Craig.
All right, who's that in the 98 in the white car next to me?
John,
John, go ahead.
10-4.
Go ahead, pull in, Lanny.
Using the 48 here now. Go ahead. I don't know why my relatives are not updated. Lanny, is that you behind me here? You can go ahead.
It was the semicolon, if you were wondering.
Thank you.
Brian, go ahead.
Catching up with somebody. I'm gonna get a draft.
Red's cheating already. Joe, go ahead. Just 1 second. All right, go ahead. Go ahead.
You
Craig.
mean Kurt?
Oh, is that Kurt next to me? Sorry, it's not updating properly for me to say, yeah. That's Scar.
Yep.
Go ahead. Did we get Jerry Hamilton back in?
Jerry's here. It's John. It's missing.
Oh.
So John was here during qualifying.
Okay. Well, if he put a time in, then it should still have it.
Nice lap,
I'm having
Ross.
connection issues or
Thank
something.
you. I don't know. I just went back to look at that. Ooh. Where? That one.
Check
Well,
out
well
that
done,
Chevy
Ross.
front row.
Thank you.
Yep, yep. Good show, us.
Yeah, the rest of you are in a Chevy sandwich because we got Aaron back in 10.
The sandwich.
I don't even see his name in Discord.
Yeah, he could have had a meltdown.
Like, I don't even see his username, even offline. Does he go by something else?
Bandit.
Oh, Greg, just at 4:59. Lanny got a penalty.
What penalty?
Lap penalty or what?
Well, Gilles didn't get one, so. So, what is it? Those who qualify first to Talladega never win? Something like that?
I'll root for that.
A lot can happen in 50 laps here.
It's true.
And you can change your grill tape in the pit stop, I think.
Yeah. I'm willing to share my setup. I'm not super. I mean, basically took all the arrow out and made her as squirrely as she'll be. if anybody wants to give it a whirl.
Sounds like my first wife.
Oh yeah? Nice.
That may be too much information, Kirk.
It was for me, I'll tell you that.
Oh my goodness. Oh, that didn't work out well at all. Before I give this off to somebody, let me go ahead and change the frickin' brake bias. Dear Lord.
Where
don't
are you
stop on
braking?
your brakes too quickly. All that stagger.
I got to hit my brake points on the track.
Hit your brake. Hit your
I
marks.
removed a bit of that stagger.
There's only 3 of them.
For any of those who are struggling for speed. I don't know if it's going to be stable for you. I guess you can add more air dam to it if you're finding it doesn't turn enough for you, but
This is the smoothest track I've been on in this mod. Most effortless. You just hold your right foot down and go.
yeah, throw the brick down on the floor and don't even think about it.
I remember doing the 500 kilometers from Montreal to Toronto with a foot to the floor and a Jetta. We got cramp on the right leg.
Wow. That's all right. First attempt only went 7 stalls past my stop.
Yeah, pitting's gonna be fun.
Yeah, you're gonna hear a lot of people going, "Whoa, whoa, mule!" I said, "Whoa!"
I say. Is that John? Perhaps? We don't hear you. It might have changed your audio device if you popped out. My brakes are getting hot. That's hilarious.
Yeah, crew chief as soon as you leave the pits.
Because I blocked the cooling.
Oh, got it. I feel like tires are not especially essential.
Not based on the feedback I'm seeing. Unless you go doing pirouettes somewhere.
Yeah, that's true. Aaron, you know, as long as you're slipstreaming, you don't lose the. Oh, shoot! I need to kick the thing over. Apparently, it didn't do that. Frickin' stream. There we go. As long as you're you don't lose the draft, should be all right. So as you roll off, you know, make sure that there's some space. I haven't been up on the front row before, so at least not setting the pace. This will.
Me neither. That makes 2 of us.
Man, I'm sorry to everyone else behind. Although I did clean out my shifter, so I shouldn't be throwing it into reverse before we hit the line. So
How much time? How much time?
20 seconds, 18 seconds, 15.
And counting.
Sorry, Lenny. Freaking nightmare fuel in that one.
My what's it called? That profile I didn't do the reset the assignments since my button box change.
Well,
I'm
that
okay
car
now.
took right off, didn't he, Ross?
She did, yeah. Should slow down here. The one that I practiced with, I had AI, so I didn't see the front of the field, so I was just sort of. I just checked to make sure he wasn't jacking up too much. Everyone should have a good amount of time to come up. Yep, there we go. That's when he slows down.
It's the old race to the 2/3 mark.
Yeah, it's a weird. I don't know if it's a bug or if it's the AI W files aren't quite done properly.
It's the Volvo.
It just likes to show off
Agreed.
its-
Hyperdrive kicking out of it, and you can't go any faster.
He's only
It's
got
a
5
wall.
cylinders, so he can't count right.
It's technically from the future, so. All right, everyone, 50 laps, plenty of time to throw it away.
Now he says we're going too slow, Ross.
That's all right. Good luck.
I need a new set of shorts.
That was not intentional.
If you're going to pit, call it out. Let everybody know behind you.
Next lap.
This lap.
Ryan going in this lap.
Thank you, bud. David Pearson pitting this lap.
Yep.
Six four green pitting.
Mikado car, huh?
The hell's backing up the pits road?
It's not pitting me.
Good.
I went outside the line.
Oh. Brian, I'm flashing my lights at you.
All he sees is STP
I
decals.
mean, you're flashing your decals.
I'm coasting.
Oh, shield.
pitting this lap, Lanny.
Craig, I'm in this lap. FYI.
twice.
Come on, Gilles.
Yeah, I got.
Just take care.
I practiced the pit end three times.
You're not alone, buddy.
Ross, I think I see something come out of your car. You might want to go into pits and check that out.
That's a good call. I'll check with the crew, make sure they're ready.
Looks like it might be dangerous. It might be hazardous, man. You might want to really check on that.
Don't listen to them wet brothers. Keep going.
I think it's dropping oil.
Yeah, a couple of drops.
It's just rain.
Tears, right? Just tears.
At these speeds, one drop could feel like a storm.
Yeah, I can't do nothing with him. He has checked out. Good pit stop too, man. You gained 4 seconds for that pit stop.
Told the
I
crew
think
they
he's got
got
a
all
hand
the ice cream they want.
rigged up.
My car's good in the draft, and I ain't got no draft.
Yeah, it's not something to bet on.
Block
Come
of
on.
wood running around the track.
Wood Brothers Wood.
Woody. What about that competition yellow, Ross?
Good question.
Sure that's not a Stucky sign up there in turn 3 you see it?
Stuckies. Nah, it's just a big girl with a yellow shirt on.
Jill.
The Bourbon Street reveal.
I got to go have a beer one time in a bar with Jill
I think that would be a good
or
time.
Giles, whatever you want to call it.
We have a Bourbon North and a Bourbon West. I saw Anna Miles in each of them. In one of them, she showed me her knickers.
Yeah? She's a Knicks fan?
They had Paisley on. No, I was just crying like a baby.
That good, huh? Man, my foot's getting tired. Might have to just go into...
I ain't heard
Get
the word
some-
knickers since I talked to my grandpa.
Thank you.
I like how we can fuel these things to the leader. Like the mechanic holding up the fuel can knows exactly when to pull it out and not spill half of it all over the ground.
Well, they're prepared before.
Just get it all in. That's all you got to do.
Yeah,
Wouldn't they like pre-fill it before the stop to the exact amount?
yeah, that's what I
That's what
said.
you're saying. You
Uh,
know those crews didn't spend that much time doing that. Sit there with like their Pyrex measuring cups.
It's a ruler.
Cruise did.
It's a ruler. They dip it in, and then they use a little hand pump.
Is this 2 to go?
Yeah, their pit strategy is 1 can or 2.
Uh-huh.
Right.
Maybe half can?
No Afghans. They don't allow Afghans in pit stop.
No.
Oh. Okay. Well,
That's the Alabama state law, I think.
when a sport car used to use the same can, that's what they were doing.
They would just time it, is what they do. They gotta be the stopwatch to tell the guy to pull it out. Ooh, gross. Sorry about that.
Yeah, when they had the overhead tanks.
No, in NASCAR now they'll time.
Oh, yeah, okay. I like my wheel with the 2 horns at the top. I'm driving it like that right now.
Nice.
Whatever works for you, Jill.
1 to go.
Okay, this one can finish.
You the man, Ross.
Good racing by all. Ooh, jeez.
Not really.
Racing, yes. Pitting, absolutely not.
And that's where all the maneuvers were made in this race.
Lanny was looking at that 3rd place. He's thinking about it. And Gilles across the line. Well, I have to say, good job by everyone for the caution-free race. We tried to set this a little bit longer, and you all still managed to be tight and orderly.
Yeah, good job. That's hard around here.
Yeah, good race there, guys.
Yeah, it was fun. Well, we were packing 5 together there. That was funny.
Early
Yep.
on.
Ross, I looked down to fix my fuel mileage so I could make sure I could make it. Looked up, I lost you in the draft, and then from here on in, you were gone.
Yeah, I don't.
He
I was
must
like,
have had
"Man,
those
what
pit
happened?"
stops dialed in perfect.
I mean, they were good.
That last one was good because I was 3 seconds behind you and came out 8 seconds behind you. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
My second one was good. My first one ended. I started up in the bloody grass.
Brian,
Oh,
it
it hit
looks like
somebody.
you
They were
had
backing up down pit road.
Brian,
That was
you had
me.
the best lap. Was that behind Ross? 48.3. Good Lord, man.
Oh, definitely in the draft. Yeah.
Actually, the top 5 were all in the low 48s. Well, I guess Scar's 48.7, but he caught up. Good strategy, Scar.
Yeah, I'd put my car to be able to turn in the drafts so I could turn and come out around and pass. But once it wasn't in the draft, it was a brick.
Yeah,
Hi.
and it seemed like Jill's was doing even better when he was behind 2 cars.
Yeah, I had a great car. I was stable.
It was like, oh, 2 cars to suck up. I'll just leapfrog.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I had a couple of moments where that draft just pulled me past 2 cars, and then I'd try and turn a corner, and then I'd be in the wall.
Yeah, the trickiest one was getting all that momentum going into turn 3. You know, if you had to wall it up, that was a big deal.
Hmm.
Well,
Yeah.
I had a good learning on this one on my first pit stop. Once I finally got it successful, I told it to go ahead and skip the 116 minutes of repairs. That was a
Oh
bad
my
idea.
God. Yeah, right.
That
Yeah,
was
you
a
might.
bad idea to skip it. I was a second and a half slower until I brought it around and stopped it again.
Man, how'd you get that damage?
Look at the replay and look what I did in the pit lane. Somebody was complaining who's backing up in the pit lane. Yeah, that was me.
Did you wipe out coming in?
Twice, yes.
Oh,
Yeah, the first time I went in at the same time as Brian, and he slowed way too fast for me, so I went right and then braked, and the thing went around, and I went in the dirt. So
Maybe I wasn't too fast then.
no, you weren't too fast. You
That
were
was
braking
part
too
of
much.
Brian's strategy. You just didn't know
Yeah,
it.
fucked me up.
Both times I slid right through my pit box. The second time I came to an abrupt stop at the break in the pit wall.
I told you, roll that mule up.
Well, sorry, Giles, if I messed you up. I was taking inside on the cone. I was holding it inside. So sorry if I didn't give you enough room on the outside there. I saw you coming. You were coming hard into the pits.
Oh, you gave me enough room. It's just it's since it surprised me. I had to move out of the line, and I wasn't pointing in the right direction at all. I was going outside the cones, and I kept it straight. So I went around. I don't remember, but then I came back in the pit road by the grass, so it told me to f off.
wow.
We're not servicing you, boy.
I
No,
want to hear that on pit crew. F the fuck off out of here.
You
Did you
needed a good
spill your
punishment.
macchiato?
yeah,
Yeah.
that's a weird thing.
Yeah, that might be a boring replay, but what can I say? It's the track.
Yeah, you need just a few more to
That first 20 laps is the most interesting part.
Yeah, that was fun. The first 20 laps were fun.
I
The
agree.
first 8 to 10 were fun when I had the draft, and after that,
Uh,
it was fun in a different way because I was like, all right, cool. Now I've got to challenge the car and the track, and then me and Lanny had a good battle for a few laps towards the end as well. But it wasn't a traditional super speedway.
Yeah, this is the only track where having 30, 34, or 43 cars makes sense, right?
yeah.
well, even 20, because then even when you
Yeah,
have like the green
20 would
flag
have been fun.
In a
cycles,
stagger, you could at least catch up with someone.
yeah, you'll start to you get pairs, and then they start catching up to the singles and make packs, and then before you know it, you're back into the battle packs, and
When
everyone
did
kinda
we
goes
lose
up.
Aaron?
I don't know. I was wondering
I
that.
think he just parked it in the pits. Actually, he dropped out early and then came back in, I think.
Yeah, I think he was watching because he said something at the end of the race.
He's done that before. Checked out, took a nap or something.
Yeah, that's steam off.
Well, one more to go, Nashville.
Yeah, Nashville, I don't think I've ever run it in a sim.
Yeah. Do 150 laps on that one.
Were all these tracks made by the same people?
Most of them were by machine. The Aussie who does the a lot of the stock car stuff, and he works with the SCSR guys on quite a number of projects. But this last one is well, and obviously the Daytona we ran was James Mabe, JM Tracks. He did that one. I think the rest of them were mostly, yeah, machine. I think that one of them was machine's conversion of it, one of the ISI tracks, like the Charlotte, I want to say. And then this last one, Nashville, is actually the first one that isn't run by one of the other guys. It's by what's his name? Guys, just looking at it, Pow, something like that. Oh, come on, don't be dumb. Chachalowski.
All right, gentlemen, I'm out. Catch you next time.
Yeah,
Yep.
Have a good
thanks
one.
for coming, Kurt. Hope you had fun.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well,
you got a minute. You got a
the-
minute to hang back.
The first third was great.
That's good enough.
the high line was slow.
Yeah,
Anybody-
that's kind of a
Yeah,
bummer.
Especially if you had to back out a little bit to make the fourth
Yeah.
exit.
You couldn't really use that second lane at all.
It was
But not
slow.
effectively.
You had to lift a lot and then
Yeah.
I was gonna look at doing some bump drafting potentially to at least get faster speed on the straight to see if that would be enough to kind of clear the inside line, but never really got the chance. I didn't want to risk it early on and
No.
screw anybody's race up, just trying to like poke around and see if stuff would work.
I was going to bump draft Brett, but all I could see was his driver's door because he was sliding.
I know. That was nuts.
But Brett, your car was like unstable.
Unstable. Yeah,
Yeah.
in a particular condition it was, but the rest of the time was pretty good.
It was fast.
I don't normally
Yeah.
run fully trimmed cars,
It was. We were following each other in the first 20 laps, and you were always going right, left, right, left, right.
Yeah, Brett, you
You gotta have a little unpredictability in there, guys.
we were all very concerned with that unpredictability when you went flying down the track.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
noticed you kind of ran into each other a little bit, it looked like.
We were definitely trying to figure out where you were going to be.
Yeah.
A little bit of second place chipmunk questioning there.
I was trying to figure out where he was going to end up.
No,
Yeah.
you go first. No, you go first.
It was so funny to see everybody trying to jog for place, but it was cool. The trick was to not to get too close on the entry to one, start drafting during one, and then pull out on the back straight, and then be on the inside for
Yeah, that would
for
be the
two.
ideal.
Yeah, that's the only way you could do it.
Yeah, and then the guy on the outside had to lift. So
Hey,
Yeah,
Ross,
because you were taking air off.
I just got a note from Brent saying that our car is not acceptable. What the fuck does that mean?
You gotta ask George, because I sent him to him and I said, I know you're freaking out about this. Who the hell was the other guy's name?
the noodle soup.
Yeah, the guy who did the SpaghettiOs.
Yeah, they're sponsored. They're paid for.
Well, yeah, I mean, like it's family business stuff where I guess that's doing it, but Yeah, he there's quite a bit of a blow up over that just because it's got like Brandon Gant and a bunch of other people, and his thing on it was um basically it's like
Hey, why could you have a thing on somebody else's car? That is your opinion. That is not, I mean, that's like predicting the future if you say it doesn't look correct and it's just well, you don't like it doesn't mean it can't exist. I mean, that's pretty freaking anal, isn't it?
well, it certainly is more than it ever has been, and I mean he even wanted to throw out the Smile Power cars, the ones that have like the hippie graphics on them,
What the
and
What the hell?
the the only reason he let those go is because the designs were era appropriate, even though they weren't necessarily on the cars. But he was
that
like,
painting that's done on that car is from 1946. Hell,
I
George
understand.
wasn't even
Whoa.
born in 1964. What
I
the hell is
understand.
he approving correct cars to be correct or not?
So this kind of all goes back to the language that was put forth, where he said effectively that they were encouraging the deliveries to match those that would be seen in the era. And the reason for that is because he really wanted the broadcast to look very much like what you would see within the era. However, he failed to basically say every car that is submitted, I'm going to curate and decide whether or not it is allowed. Um, and he kind of assumed that by putting out the statement of like, we strongly encourage, we want to do like, I can't remember the exact verbiage, but very much to the effect of like, you should try and make your car match like what raced during that year, or, like around that time. And because it wasn't an absolute dictate, unfortunately, people started kind of putting some spin on it. And then there were those who didn't put any spin on it, and they're like, well, this is what we put on our cars.
Sorry.
And we've never done this before where we actually said, like, you're not allowed to like run this or that, unless it's like super offensive or something. But
It's the beginning of a downfall. Tell you, when you start getting over critical of creativity, I mean, Jesus, just everybody to drive the same car, everybody have the same painting, everybody do the same setup.
Like
Everybody,
when Joe Miller refused my rusted Porsche. We were doing
What?
Oh,
an
I remember that.
yeah,
what? When was
yeah.
that?
About 4 years, 5 years ago, I did. We were running an RSR 3-liter series in AMS, and I came out with a pretty nice done. I picked up some rust graphic everywhere, and the rocker panel were rusted, and the edge of the fenders, and they were water trace coming down from the mirrors and stuff like that. It was nice.
It
He
was
ref-
creative.
he refused it because it looks like it really looked too good. It really looked like a rust bucket.
But yeah, it was it was a little mesmerizing because if you looked at it too much, you're just like, whoa.
Um, I had on the rear bonnet, I had put a graphic of an engine.
Yeah,
So
I remember that.
I was running without a rear bonnet. It looked
It's
like
like
that.
it's like the deck lid graphic was no deck lid.
Yeah, that was so funny. It was nice. I don't have picture here. I'll put a picture on later on. It was good. It was really good. It got refused.
Man, well, I can tell you that I will never reject a livery, barring something that is like offensive or like would be problematic
Triple
otherwise.
X rated.
Yeah, something that's like, yeah, that's gonna be that's gonna cause issues.
hey, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ross. I was
No,
gonna say,
that's
guys, you can go look the car that they got rejected. I just pasted it in the league discussion.
I
Tell
love
me
it.
what you all think of it.
Yeah, it looks good. It's like my striped Porsche. It looks good, but the problem,
What
yeah,
that is that's a paste over of a Jackson
Jackson
Pollock
Pollock.
painting.
It's
Yeah.
what?
It's a Jackson Pollock painting from 1946 pasted on top of the car.
Oh, interesting.
Which Brent didn't even have to do this, but he did line up all the different panels and everything so that way it would be continuous, which is, considering it's Jackson Pollock, you probably didn't have to do that, but it does make it that much better. So
That's definitely creative, Brian.
There's the
the-
Jackson. There's the Jackson Pollock painting. I just pasted it in there.
cool.
Yeah, I see.
And the
It's like
Mustang.
they opened 3 cans of paint and just kind of dripped them out randomly with the stir stick.
For the 2024 Saturday with Johnny Gutierrez, we're running. It's not finished yet. I got problems with the front fender, but it's it's my Porsche. It's my Porsche transferred to. It's great.
nice. Yeah, it
It's
looks good.
creative too, in a real modern way.
But did it get rejected?
Well, the modern stuff
Not yet.
won't.
A lot of stuff won't. Yeah.
When George was going through and doing this, because I questioned him on it. I'm like, is there any particular reason why we're being so selective? And his pushback was that this this is a very special year and that he wants to have very representative on the broadcast. And since he's footing the bill for like $5,000 or whatever it is, he's like, I really want to have that. So I don't know if that might be both eras.
Yeah, and
But-
Alec also putting the bill for the
For NARS.
for the NARS. That's like, wow, that would have
So-
gone on my car.
So Brian, I know that Lanny shot him a DM. I don't know if he responded to it yet or not, but I'd pile on the pressure too and just be like, hey, he's spent a lot of time on this, and
I mean, it
Was it-
doesn't look that period correct incorrect actually.
No, actually, no. There was a lot of abstract
different.
painting. There was a lot of abstract painting.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'd say that's on the same level as that Smile Gang or whatever it was, where they've got the 60s type paintings as well. Well, the 60s hippie vibe. It's the same sort of thing. It fits the era.
Yeah, the 60 vibe cars, I don't like them, but they fit.
I mean, even for the fact that I've got a couple of cars from the 70s. Personally, I think that's more out of place than something from a painting from the 40s.
Yeah, I mean, George actually was going to go back to Smile Racing and tell them that they weren't allowed. I'm like, nah, you can't do that after you've already accepted it. I mean, that's not right. They've already submitted their stuff. They've already been put into the pack, and you can't just change your mind. I mean, like that's a total like NASCAR ACO sort of thing where they're like, yeah, we just changed our mind and fuck you, we're gonna do whatever we want. It's like, nah, you gotta be good about it. So it's like, if there isn't like a resolute thing that says like it must be this, then you gotta have it open. I told him like you should have started off saying like I George am going to judge every car and decide whether or not it's gonna
Yeah,
go in or not.
Yeah. You should have written it up. So if
Yeah.
since
So what
it's
it is,
not written it up,
We're having a league to satisfy George, huh?
Well, I mean, in that case, like that would be very clear because it's like he would say, I want it to look like this, basically stripes or very basic geometric shapes. And that's sort of the guideline. And that's what I want to have on the cars. And you're welcome to submit them, but I have to approve them. And I will be
Pink.
solely
I'm
approving
doing a
everyone.
pink Ferrari.
Yeah.
I'm going to
Hey.
do a pink Ferrari.
Yeah, what, first time we've seen a pink car out there, right?
Hot Pink Panther Ferrari.
All right, that's perfect. Pink Panther, 1964.
When was Pink Panther? When did that run?
That was like 63 or 64.
Was that when it first started?
Yeah,
oh,
it was back
Yeah,
then.
63 original work.
cool.
64. I got 63 and 64.
Yeah. The film Pink Panther was December 18th, 1963. And then
Pretty much straddles it.
Yeah.
when
there we go.
was
George
Now
gonna
that-
hate a pink For Ferrari, I know that.
Yeah, but you could get away with it perfectly because it's 63. It's before. All you have
Yeah.
to do is put the Pink Panther on the front and make everything else whatever, and you're fine.
Yeah.
Just put the logo though, because if you put the drawn version, he might be like, "Oh, that would not be on there because it
I can
would
show him
require
I can that logo is on the Pink Panther movie.
the logo." Yeah, that would be totally fine.
Bro.
There wouldn't be Inspector Clouseau.
No, the actual Pink Panther's on the logo for the movie.
Yeah.
The cartoon.
The cartoon. That would be good. That would be good.
Where I'm not
yeah.
seeing the.
Have a nice evening, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Yep. Good
Thanks
night.
for coming, as
Take it
usual.
easy, Jules.
Yeah.
Sure.
Thank you, Ross. Bye.
Look at the Pink Panther movie poster that's on Google.
Oh yeah, and the
Yeah, it's
cartoon
all
began
about
in
the character.
1964.
Yep.
I think that would be wonderful having a Pink Panther car. Like a very nice,
Then he
like
can't say anything about it, right?
pink.
Poke him right in the eye.
And then he'd have to look at it every single race. And then what would be great is if then you went back and because I told Brent this, I don't know, I can't remember if I said it to Laney too, but I was like, don't throw those Jackson Pollock liveries out. I would, you know, if I were doing it, I would just run them as alternates during Le Mans or something. And just be like,
I
screw it.
also like want them for
Can
my
I
collection
actually
too,
load it
'cause
into my
they look awesome.
my setup and then it actually shows up anyway?
Yeah.
Yeah, like a loose skin.
No, I think the Pink Panther one's got to be. I got to talk to Brent quick.
I mean, that would be very easy, just a straight up color, and then like the logo, just kind of like pop it in there somewhere.
Done deal. Yep. Got to put the pink. It's got to put the Pink Panther on there with the cigarette holder.
That'd be great.
Yeah. Call it Pinky. I don't know.
I'll be back in a second.
All right, guys. Hey, take care. It was fun. Nice run, Ross. Have fun, guys.
Thanks. Yeah, you
take
too.
care, Brian.
Yeah, George was feisty about because I did the speed racer thing. Same idea. I mean, it was very famous in the 60s. The cars were modeled after cars from the 60s, and like even taking notes from some of the ones from the 50s. And the one I put in, the Mach 5, has the big kind of sharp looking M on the hood. But when you look at the rest of the car, there's nothing else on it except for the number circles. And when I entered that, George kind of reacted pretty strongly to it. He was like, "Oh, that would never happen. They would, they would have to hand paint that, and there's no way. There's never an example of that." And he didn't reject it, but he definitely did not like it. And I'm like, man, this thing is like iconic 60. Like it is probably the most famous racing cartoon ever, and that's even more than Wacky Racers.
Yeah, they came along a little later, I
I'm
think.
back. What cartoon are we talking about?
Speed Racer? What anime?
Yep.
That was Hanna-Barbera, wasn't it?
No. They actually had, I think it was Speed Racer something or rather. I don't know if Hanna-Barbera got well, they did Wacky Racers, but
Yeah, they did. But that was later. That was like late 60s,
that was
I think.
70s. Yeah, 60s and then into the 70s. Yeah, because they were definitely like on the hippie wacky train. Like you could definitely see some.
Oh
you know,
yeah,
like
Scooby-Doo and all.
some Beatles influence from that, from like some of the cars and like the designs and whatever. It was fun. In fact, I was hoping we'd be able to see some of the Wacky Racer livery designs show up, but yeah, wow.
I think that would have been cool.
Yeah, 1968.
I mean, like I said, I've got a couple from the 70s, so it still fits as a 60s vibe, you know?
Yeah, it's close enough. I mean, you start to get some of that that Art Nouveau creeps in a little bit more because, like, before that, you've got a little bit more, some of the minimalist stuff, some of the deconstructionist and impressionistic things that are coming out of like 40s to 50s era, like they're starting to trail off, and like you're getting more into the 60s because that's where you've got like like the whole Vietnam thing, like the hippie revolutions coming in. You got like punk music hitting. There's a lot of like groundswell towards just a lot more free thinking and like the way that expression comes out. And so right about 67, that's like when it was really becoming very focused. I mean, you saw traces of it before that. I mean, it started up even since like the early 60s, but it's so underground for a lot of that kind of stuff that it was kind of like, yeah, that's interesting. Like there's evolution within like the artistic scenes, but yeah, man, once you got into the late 60s, 60, like end of 67, 68, 69, full on swing. Nobody said no. Man, look at those wacky racer designs. Oh, wow. They even somebody went through and actually did a chart with everyone's finishing positions from the various episodes and races.
Somebody has too much time on their hands.
They did a proper championship.
Yeah. There actually weren't that
Who
many.
won?
I'm kind of surprised. Who won? Very good question. Show gave the results of each race at the end of each episode. The narrative sometimes saw some or all of the cars cross the finish line, as well as what happened with Dick Dastardly after his last scheme's failure. The show never indicated a particular scoring system. Cumulative totals for first, second, and third place finishes are presented below. So there were 34 scored races. Looks like the Slag Brothers had the most top threes at 14. They had 3 firsts, 8 seconds, and 3 thirds. But again, there's no scoring system, so we have no idea what they ended up getting overall. It looks like they're probably the most successful. The ones behind them, Rufus Roughcut and Sawtooth, they had 3 firsts as well.
I haven't
6
heard
seconds.
that term in so many all tooth
4 thirds. The Gruesome
creative
Twosome,
naming there.
they had 3 first and 3 seconds and 6 thirds, so they were not quite as well scoring. And then you've got a few that had 4 wins. The Anthill Mob, Penelope Pit Stop, Lazy Luke, and Blubber
Penelope's the
Bear.
one I remember the most.
Peter Perfect with 4 as well, but he
Yeah,
only had 2
her and him.
seconds.
That's
Yep.
like Ken and Darby.
They were not hitting the podium quite as much. And then Dick Dastardly and Muttley had no podium finishes
Oh,
at all.
wow. Yeah, they were funny too.
Not at all. Sergeant Blast and Private Meekly, they at least had 4 top threes, 3 of them being wins. 1 second. The Red Max.
He was like the Red Baron on 4 wheels, wasn't he?
Yep, and the Crimson Hay Baler. The converter car from Professor Pat Pending. That's hilarious.
That's too funny, isn't it?
Man, I cannot believe that they did that. Just tracked all of them. Oh yeah, I forgot they had games too. The video games. Guess that makes sense. Oh, and people actually recreated the cars in real life. That's funny. Man, I can only imagine trying to see them do like downhill derbies or anything with those. Those things would just be chaos. Would be nice if they did it for what's that one, the Red Bull downhill derby thing that they run every year?
You mean over at in England?
Yeah, I think that is where it
They
is.
they run it at the Goodwood Festival or something.
They certainly have enough hay bales. It
Yeah,
seems
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
I know what you're
uh,
talking about. I actually did the soapbox derby when I was a teenager myself.
yeah,
When I was 12, I think. Yeah,
nice.
I was in the semifinals. I got third, or it was a very close third or fourth place I got out of 35 guys.
Wow,
I mean, we're talking thousands of a second.
man.
Yeah, it's pretty well regulated too. The weight of the car with the kid in it had to be less than 250, and all cars were weighed within an hour of each other using the same crew of two.
So if you were underweight, they made sure you had a bunch of milkshakes on hand or something just to load up.
Yeah, I mean, to most kids didn't care. They were like, "I don't want to go over, so I'm only at 210." Okay, good. I came in like 249 and a half.
Nice. Yeah, there's something to be said about having some of that momentum too.
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, it's all potential energy from gravity. So, uh, like the top 5 or 6 cars, we all had metal plates in the back of our car.
Now, could you get I can't remember because some of them are different, but were you allowed to do like a running push start where you just got as
No,
much
no,
speed?
we were on a specially made starting device that put a 2x4 in front of each car, and they was all gang tuned. So when the starter dropped the pole, they all released at the same time.
Yeah. Wow. Man,
It was
that thing
pretty
is
organized, and they reused the same starting device every year.
that's wild.
You
That's
you
really
just park it
dedicated.
on the hill at a certain place, and then they actually had, like I said, thousands of a second. They had electronic timers for our finish line also. So it was pretty sophisticated for way back then, I thought.
Yeah, when would that have been? The 70s?
Yeah,
60s,
early
70s?
70s.
Nice.
Yeah, I went on to race motocross after that. Very different.
Motocross.
Yeah, playing in the dirt.
That's I just think of
A
all
lot
of
more
us.
expensive too, because I was constantly updating my bike.
Yeah. Still, I mean, it'd be cheaper than hell, even go-karting. Some ways.
I did that way before the soapbox derby. I was probably 6 when I started go karting. Well, I mean, yeah, I'm talking about soapbox go karting. Playing around with kids in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
I didn't do actual go kart racing until I think I'd say in the early 2000s with some friends from work. We would go to a indoor go kart facility once a month. We had a little league running.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about the extent of my actual racing knowledge, go karts and that sort of situation.
Yeah, I think the
Okay.
place still exists. Let me see if I can pull it up.
Most of them are electric now, and man, those things fly. They can anyway.
Hey,
Just
Raw.
come. What's up?
Hey, man.
You're back.
Yeah, I've been talking to Brent. We've been loving the new idea. Everybody's up with it.
If nothing else, just to get at George, which I ascribe to that.
He didn't say anything about the color, right? Pink. You're fine. I just noticed there was an update, and I don't see our Acuras in there. Do you know anything about that?
Make sure it's noted to Dawn.
Well, hell, I thought we submitted those and just missed the deadline before. So
yeah, he missed a couple before, and I'm sure it's because he's been pretty focused on getting the Sebring finished up. But just make sure that he's pinged. Ping me too, so that way I can make sure it gets grabbed.
okay, do I have to resend the cars again, or do you, those they should already still be there, or do I have to post them like everybody else did in the race chat there on for like Saturday?
Where'd you send them?
Well, Brent sent them and sent them to Don, and I think he sent them to you too.
He did, yes. Yeah, I didn't think about it after he said that he'd sent them off to Don, so I don't know if he did that via DM. I mean, if you've got the link handy, you can probably just post that. Like, you don't have to go crazy with putting all the other details in there. If you don't want, you can just say, "Hey, I saw this wasn't in here, so."
Post it in the Saturdays place liveries or in the Thursdays. Doesn't matter.
Shouldn't matter. Do Saturday though, just to be safe.
All right, I'll go drop them in there then.
But
all right, man.
There is going to be another update because I'm going to be working on stuff. We've got a bunch of icons that we have to fix. So I mean, it's all going to get updated. So we'll get it in there.
Famous last words. And I've talked to everybody. Nobody's gotten an official rejection from George on the original Ferrari.
Which one?
The original Ferrari with the Pollock. Nobody's.
Oh.
George hasn't said anything to me. Hasn't said anything to Lanny. Hasn't said anything to Brent. Nobody said that the car's rejected.
So he hasn't responded back to Lanny yet.
Oh yeah, responded to Lanny. Hadn't said anything to me. Hadn't said anything to Brent, who submitted the car. Nobody said anything.
Well, he said it to me, and I said, "So you're officially rejecting this? Like, I'm going to tell them that it's not allowed."
Well, I'll go post it in there with the other cars and then have them reject it to me, I guess.
I think that's probably the safest way.
Yeah.
And, I still think at some point you should run the Pink Panther, even if it's as a loose skin at a random event.
George hates pink, don't he?
Yeah,
pick
he
his
really
favorite
does.
track.
Oh yes, yeah. I'd say, all right, you reject. I have him officially rejected online, and then we'll go to the other one. All right, man. Thanks, Ross. Appreciate it.
Sure. Oh, yeah, I got it. So we'll actually, after Nashville next week, the following week is going to be Daytona, and then we'll be off for 2 weeks, I think, and then we'll do Sebring, maybe? I can't remember. Or if I just pick 2 weeks, and that's when we'd come back. But in and amongst there, we'll have a poll to pick the next series, and then yeah, it'll be good. Probably road course oriented.
Well, I just posted a link to that indoor karting track where our league ran in the early 2000s.
I just found found mine as well. English, not my favorite thing to try and do.
Easy for you to say.
Yeah. Looks like they tried to take on some other indoor stuff to make up for not everybody being interested in go-karting, I guess.
Yeah, that's pretty standard anymore. I mean, there are just so many go-kart tracks that, particularly if they're just like very public facing, like, oh, here's some that putt around here at like, 20K an hour or something. Like little kids are beating them up and running them like bumper cars, and you'd have like one grumbly old mechanic who's probably half drunk off his ass every time he shows up to work, and he's got to like try and make the stupid things run. And yeah, it's just not sustainable.
This one ended up being it ended up being run by a lot of teenagers, and they would invite their I'll call them their import runner friends. Then on the weekends, they'd
Uh-huh.
have some really tight battles, and then some of us that ran there on a regular basis would come in and give them a real run for their money. Like, wow, who's these older guys? So
Yeah.
fast.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, there's certainly some tracks that would do very well, like if they were just run properly, like if they're proper go-kart tracks.
That was fun because you felt like an incognito driver to these other guys that were like battling each other, and you could just kind of weave through the field.
Mm-hmm. Hell yeah.
Yeah, there was one down south from the same company that I'm not sure if it still
Mania, is
runs.
that an indoor and outdoor, Scar?
Yeah, it started out as just indoor, and then they bought more land and got a bit more, and then they put laser tag on the top level of the building.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah,
Similar
no, that
deal.
was similar deal. Just you could hire it as a league to run the day if you wanted to run practices or whatever, or you could just rock up whenever with a group and be on track with whoever was at the same time as you. But
Yeah,
yeah, they had it.
we did it once a month from October through April. We'd have like a double header championship in April.
Yeah, I think we did like 3 months a year, and that was it. Like every
This
every
is
fortnight.
the winter months up in the Great Lakes area, so they would leave the rear garage door open while we were racing just for extra ventilation. I mean, they had ceiling fans and all that, but
Whoa.
man, that cold winter air was good for those little engines. You could tell the difference in the power it would put out with the denser air.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
And you only got like 8 horsepower. It makes a difference.
Exactly. You lose one, you're like, oh crap.
What a dog!
But yeah, they had the same company had another track down south where it was like Suzuka with a bridge over it.
Oh, that's cool. Indoor.
Yeah, it was indoor as well. Yeah, that one was fully indoor. The one at Jets Cross there, that's the one I mainly went to because I'm on the other side of the city. I'm up north, so it was a fair trek to get down there. But that one started out as just indoor, and then when it wasn't raining, they would always do the outdoor. And the outdoor had a nice little hairpin and a really great flowing, challenging left-hander, sort of like the 130R at Suzuka as well. So
Yeah. Our indoor track had a hairpin just before the start finish line, no less.
make sure everyone gets a chance to do an overtake before the line, huh?
Yeah, there was a lot of that, and there was a lot of people trying to aggressive people trying to use the outside driver as a guardrail or push him outside in that
Oh yeah.
before penultimate turn. Really, a lot of fun though for the money.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well worth
Plus,
it. Like,
they later last year we were there, they got a license to serve beer, and they, that inserted even more craziness.
yeah, I was just about to
Nice.
say.
That's great. Yeah, you gotta have some excitement.
Yeah, that
And
was
there was
just
a Hooters right down the road too, if you were hungry.
oh
Nice.
shit. Well, if you need food or a beer or anything with the Cartmania thing, there's a pub literally right across the road.
Yeah.
But I was there in my teen years, so I wasn't doing any of that. So
I thought the drinking age outside of the U.S. was pretty much 18 everywhere.
oh, it is. I was like 15 at the time.
Oh, that kind.
Yeah, proper teenager.
People are already practicing it. Unbelievable. All right, Nashville's up. And looks like the weather is loaded. Rural Hill, U.S. Broken clouds. All right, so that's all set. Just got to grab the replay and we're all good to go.
Yeah, I got to go grab about to eat. Cheers for hosting. Thanks for the racing. I'll catch you next time.
Yep,
Same
see
thing,
ya.
guys. We'll see you next week. Thanks, Ross.
Sure thing. Have a good night.
You too. Bye bye.